Okay, good morning. This is a Sicha printed in Chelek Chof Gimel. It's Bamidbar base, volume 23, and the Sichos is page 8. This is a Sicha that the Rebbe said in the year, it's really a combination of between 1968 and 1978. Okay, Aleph. In Pesach, Ve'elu told us Acharon and Moshe Bamidbar Hashem as Moshe B'Har Sinai. And in regard to the Pesach, these are the children of Acharon and Moshe on the day Hashem spoke to Moshe on the Har Sinai. Shel Lashiv Tiverta Ve'elu told us Acharon Moshe on his Mefarish. Now, Rashi cites the words, these are the children of Acharon and Moshe, and he says like this. Ve'enim masker ela b'nei Acharon. If you look at the Psukim, it says only the children of Acharon. Benipro told us Moshe. Yeah, the Torah calls them, these are the children of Moshe. But these are not the children of Moshe. Why? So Rashi says, why? Because Moshe taught them Torah. Teaches us that anyone who teaches his friend Torah teaches another person's son. The Torah considered as if he fathered them. So that's why Rashi said, that's what the Torah says, Ve'elu tell us Acharon Moshe. Why is it Moshe's children? Because Moshe taught Torah to them, so it's like it's like he fathered them. Only in Mefarshim Zayin Masber, the time for us, that's a shayach to the Bnei Acharon Davka. Chotas Moshe has galer Torah mit Aliyinin. Now the Mefarshim explain that even though Moshe taught Torah to the entire Jewish people, so why is it specifically shayach to Acharon? Acharon, while Moshe had galer mitzay bazundra. Because Moshe taught the sons of Acharon individually. When Eder had gelernt mit alle Yidden, wie Rashi schön gebracht früher in Seh Parshas Tisa, from Seh der Mishnah. And it's, he learned with them beforehand. And Rashi already mentioned this earlier at the end of Parshas Tisa, when describing the order of instructions, how Moshe conveyed Torah to the Yidden. So over there, Rashi explains that he received the Torah from Hashem, Moshe taught each part of the Torah from Hashem 4 times. Like Rashi says over there, first to Acharon, then to the sons, then to the Skanim, and then to the Jewish people as a whole.
So even though he taught all the Yidden, they taught them separately.
Correct, but in separately, he also Moshe basically taught the same thing 4 times. First to Acharon, then the sons, then to the Skanim, and then to the Jewish people. So that's what Mepharshim explain why it was Shai Dafka to Aaron's kids. We bald as in them is Moshe nit given mechuyev. Adraba we bald as shen gehat gelent frier mit Aaron. So shen Aaron geworden mechuyev zu lernen mit seine Kinder. Libet Moshe bekommen dem schar yuchel as meidel of a cost of kid yilode. Now Moshe was not obligated to teach Aaron's kids separately. Adraba, since Moshe really conveyed the teaching to Acharon, the obligation to teach his children really fell upon the father, Acharon. So accordingly, Moshe got a unique reward for this. The Torah considered it as if he fathered them. That's a little Mepharshim explaining Rashi. The enough is Rashi Mashal B'Pirushi. And then Rashi continues his explanation. And he says like this, B'yayim Dibur as Moshe. Rashi says on the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe, Nasa Ela Atelis Shalai, Shalingdan Mashalam and Pigvora. On this day, they became his children, his descendants, because he taught them what he had learned from the mouth of Hashem. Was is da Rashi Eisen to Meister Zayin mit den Hezber und zweiten Dibber Nasa Ela Atelis Shalai, Shalingdan Mashalam and Pigvora. Now, what is Rashi exactly adding by saying this, that the separate Dibra Maskal, that on this day they became his children because he taught them what he learned from Hashem. It's extra. What are you adding? What are you adding this as a second explanation? And what are you train? Rashi says clearly that the Torah considers it Moshe's children because he fathered them. So what's Rashi adding exactly? It's saying the same thing, l'chayro. So let him Mefarshim. So the Mefarshim explain, as by Rashi is kosher to Hamshach HaKosov. That what was difficult to Rashi is the continuation of the previous pasuk. Vi pasten the verte b'yem dibar Hashem es Moshe al tahamshach tzavei telas Aaron. How does the previous part of the pasuk, these are the children of Aaron, relate to what we say on the day that Hashem spoke? In other words, b'yem dibar Hashem es Moshe, you're saying ve'el telas Aaron, b'yem dibar Moshe. What's the connection?
Rashi is back.
So is Rashi Mefarshim b'yem dibar Hashem kum b'hamshach nitzu ve'el telas Aaron, nor ve'el telas u'Moshe. So therefore, Rashi explains that this, on the day that Hashem spoke, doesn't refer to the words, these are the children of Aaron, but to the inclusion of Moshe. That, in other words, that he too fathered them. Their father was Linden Teda, Rashi Zotin Fidigat Dibur. So since Aaron's sons are also called the children of Moshe because he taught them Teda, as Rashi said before, therefore the Teda says, Bavard gleich der Pasuk, als der Ingen hat sich aufgetan von B'yem Dibar Hashem es Moshe, was dann mit dem Mashlam im Pergvura. So therefore Rashi explains, that the Teda says on the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe, for it was then that Moshe taught them what he had learned from the mouth of Hashem. Und das was the Pasuk sagt, B'yem Dibar Hashem es Moshe, and this the Teda says the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe. The Lecheda Moshe dort gelernt werden mit die Bnei Aaron, die ganze Zeit was nach dem Yom Dibar Hashem es Moshe. Lecheda Moshe did not teach Aaron's sons Torah only on that one day, but throughout the entire time following the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe. Adram, on the contrary, Ikelim dat Torah mit Aaron, bechlal mit die Bnei Aaron beifem Yuchad, hat sich angeheben erst am Machlos Yom Kippurim, nach die dritte Arbaim, was Moshe gewinnt bei Haar. Mer vi fear chadashim von zin dem yom asher dibar Hashem es Moshe bar Sinai. The Rebbe says this that Moshe taught them, this instruction for the Jewish people as a whole and Aaron's sons in particular did not begin until the day after Yom Kippur, following the third day period that Moshe spent on Har Sinai, which was 4 months after the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe on Har Sinai. In other words, this whole thing that he taught them was l'chayra mainly after being Dibar Hashem es Moshe. After that, what he taught them, what he had learned from Hashem. It happened 4 months later. So the Mefarshim offer two explanations to resolve this difficulty. Aleph, b'yom dibar domain mi yom dibar. Now, when we say on b'yom dibar means not on the day that Hashem spoke, but from the day that Hashem spoke. So similarly, you find like the base and the prefix in the pasuk which means was made from them basar and lechem. It means like for what remains from the meat and the bread. So that's one explanation. Again, that from when we say b'yom dibar, it doesn't mean the day, but it means from the day. Like it says, what remains from the meat and from. In other words, from that day. And by saying on the day, the Torah teaches that even if a person only teaches another person's son one thing, he taught him that day he taught them only one day, it becomes his children.
In other words, between Yomen. That means between that day, it doesn't have to be right away. In other words, when the day started.
Correct. So, right. So when the Torah says b'yom dibar, it doesn't mean on that day. It doesn't mean the day that he taught him. It means from that day.
Oh.
Yeah. And the second thing is that, why do you say the day? Because even if you taught a person's son on that day one thing, it's kilo nasal of Tobis. The Rebbe says this. In the etzem tirut seminal, shret zu sagen, As das is Kavanas Rashi. In addition to these resolutions appearing like being bideichik, it's very difficult to say that this is Kavanas Rashi, base or Aleph. Why? The man of community madri sein as scholar vendi bnei Aaron seine Gevarin telus Moshe durch dem was them Torah. What does it matter when Aaron's sons became Moshe's kids because he taught them Torah?
Hey.
Okay, fine. So why does that have to say when they became? Why is that? What does it matter when Aaron's sons became Moshe's children? And Beis v'ikar. This is the ikar part. Moshe tzkolan Torah mit Yidden eich farman Torah. Farther than the Bar Hashem as Moshe Bar Sinai. Moshe learned Torah with the Yidden even before the Torah was given. Rashi says that before the giving of the Torah in Mara, he taught them the passages of the Torah that they could occupy themselves with Torah, with learning. And in Mitzrayim, Hashem commanded many halachas in 7 Parshas Bay, and Moshe communicated them and taught them to the Jewish people. Hi, Ravazai libnei Aaron Giveren tells Moshe Eshbim Dibbar Hashem's Moshe Bahar Sinai Nitfars in them. So why did Aaron's sons first become Moshe's children on the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe and Har Sinai, and not before the time if he taught them Torah? But then Lemar das was Moshe had gelernt Torah mit libnei Aaron bei from Yuchad was mitzad them zan ze Gevaren until his Moshe canal. It's going to dafken them say the Mishnah was such a now, it's a dechik to say that the order of instructions through which Moshe conveyed the Torah, which he taught Aaron's sons, the Torah individually, for which reason they became his children, as explained, began only after Yom Kippur and not beforehand. Why? Well, the time is a Shia. Von Adam Seder Mishnah Bechlal, Befras, von Learning Basindim mit Ibnei Aaron, Shal Befal Takva, Ich far Machar Yom Kippur. Because for whatever it is, the order of instructions, in particular for teaching Aaron's sons individually, was relevant to the same degree before Moshe taught the Yidden after Yom Kippur. Obviously, as Shem B'yim Dibar Hashem as Moshe Bar Sinai B'shisha Shvi B'sivan had Moshe Galei Bazugna with Ibnei Aaron Ibadas Damozan Zegev and Tel Shalei. Now, why did he teach them? Why did he teach them earlier? Because they were already his children. So it's logical to say that before the giving of the Torah, Moshe studied with them in the same manner as he did afterwards. Correct. Because they were his spiritual children, that's why he learned with them beforehand. So why does the Torah madrish be Yom Dibar Hashem es Moshe? It happened beforehand. Okay, let's see the base. Also, there's several details in the wording that Rashi uses. Amongst them is like this. Aleph. Von Rashi in the ersten Dibber Meiler of Akosov Kililade is moved as thus made nit as is an Gevarn. Seine tell this nor blaze an von Schar. Was wird verrechen Kililade. Da gegen den zweiten Dibber sagt nas elo tell Shalei. And the Gevarn tell this Moshe. From Rashi's wording in the first Dibber Maskell, Torah considered as if he fathered them. Obviously, it means that not that Aaron's sons actually became Moshe's children. Instead, it tells us that Moshe is given the reward. It's considered as if he fathered them. On the second Dibber Maskell, it says they became his children. Imply that Aaron's sons actually became Moshe's children. So how does that work? It's me as Nafgresa. This question is even stronger. The Makar for the Rashi is in Gemara. On Dart is there Lashon Kol Hamalamed Choli Malav Kasu Kali Ladish and Marilla tells Aaron Moshe. Moshe Limud the Fikov Nikra Shmei. Now, the source of Rashi is from the Gemara. And what does the Gemara say? Anyone who teaches another person's son's Torah is considered by Torah as if he fathered them. As it says, these are the children of Aaron and Moshe. Moshe taught them Torah. Therefore, they were called by his name. Or Rashi's done Meisiv, so Zagnit Nervini, Krol tells Mesha, not Nasa Elotel. Rashi adds, not to the wording of the Gemara, not only that they were called the descendants of Mesha, but also they became his children. Base. Was ist der Arichas Aloshne Shalim den Mashalom den Piagvur? Rashi is gedacht, sagen Bekitzer. When you sagt Tak in dem ersten Lieber, Shalim den Teda. What's this lengthy wording used by Rashi? He taught them what he learned from Hashem. Just say clearly, concise. He taught them Teda. I feel that today Marzval and Pasuk steht im Pod Loschen mit ihm die Resham is Mesh, der Pfarrer sich Rashi Bessel was a Matlich. Also hat gelernt mit Zeh. Das was they were told him gesagt. So even if you want to say that since the Torah stresses, so Rashi says also that Hashem taught them that Moshe taught them what he learned. The Chalfut Glatik. Hey, Bazeh, was is Rashi Mishana from Loschen B'Tein LaBazil and Zog B'Yem Mashalim need Mashashama. Why does Rashi change and deviate from the pasuk said what he learned, not what he heard? And Mepiakvur, Nid Mepi Hashem. Why does he say Mepiakvur, not Mepi Hashem? Okay. See you tomorrow, man.